You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Well, we are there. Well, actually, we're actually there, and you're in front of your TV, watching us as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Seattle Mariners in the rubber game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with David Cohn and Al Leiter. I'm Michael Kay. Well, it wasn't the Yankees' night last night. They lost 12-2, and right in the middle of it, a former Yankee, a veteran, and he did everything he could to make their night miserable.
Well, he did. You had to know that Raul Ibanez was looking forward to coming back to New York, and, of course, last night, as you see those numbers, those are up to date, mainly because of this grand salami in the first inning of a Phil Hughes. About 12 minutes into Phil Hughes' night, there's 6 runs on the board. Looking forward to the next one, and you see how far out in front he got the barrel of the bat on that hanging curveball. Those ones go a long way. And then, of course, Brett Marshall later in the game covering that outside corner pitch with a 2-run shot. He ends up with 6 RBIs and 2 homers on the night. What a homecoming for Raul Ibanez.
Let's take a look at the New York Lottery pitching matchup for tonight's game. Hector Noesi is filling in for Aaron Harang, who was scheduled. His back stiffened, so he's out. Andy Pettitte is in for the Yankees, the veteran, 4-2, 3.83. Last time out against Kansas City, Al, he pitched very well.
Yeah, he did, Michael. And historically against Kansas City, he's always been a very good pitcher. But, you know, thinking about Andy Pettitte, he had 2 rough starts prior to that. And he looked at his tape and he thought his cutter wasn't very good. I thought his cutter was very good. He threw a lot of them, got a lot of strikeouts, 7 strikeouts. When he has that cutter down and into the righty, that fastball away is very effective. Watch for Andy to use the fastball-cutter combination tonight.
Well, Andy might have some help from some kids. The baby Bombers are in town. It's a youth infusion. 5 of them have come up and made their major league debuts. We'll talk about that when we return right here on Yes. Baby Bombers. 5 guys have made their major league debuts. You see who they are. You see when they broke in. And it's the first time in the first 40 games that the Yankees have had 5 newbies since 1995. As we mentioned, welcome back. That's David Cohn. I'm Michael Kay. We're cooling down Al Leiter in the corner. We both have young kids in our house, and it kind of infuses a little excitement. Do you think that's the same thing for a clubhouse?
Well, I think it does. It's a domino effect all through the organization. All the minor league coaches, the scouts, it's a feather in their cap. I scouted this guy. He's finally getting a chance. It sends a message to your whole organization that's good. And actually, maybe there's a trade coming, because when all that happened in '95, that's when they traded for me. So,
right.
So maybe, you develop some of this talent, you build up their value. they could also be trade chips around the trade deadline as well.
Does it bring a little energy into the clubhouse?
Oh, I think it does, without a doubt. Seeing the young bucks running around the clubhouse all wide-eyed, it really does. I mean, the veterans feed off of that, and sometimes clubhouses can get a little stale. And you see these kids around, it gives you something to get on them about. Their clothes, hey, you can't wear that in the big leagues, or, hey, this is how you're supposed to act. And it creates a nice atmosphere, kind of a teaching atmosphere for guys like Mariano Rivera and some of these young guys.
And maybe a guy like Andy Pettitte. Andy will get the start tonight. So from the baby bombers to the oldest starting pitcher in baseball at the age of 40, Andy gets the start. When we come back, lineups, first pitch, baseball, next on Yes. At JaguarUSA.com. By PNC, see your business's cash flow like never before with PNC Cash Flow Insight. And by Honda. Visit your Honda dealer today for great deals. Only a Honda is a Honda. Beautiful night here in New York City. And we're ready for the rubber game of a 3-game set between the Yankees and the Mariners. So let's take a look at the Mariners starting lineup put together by manager Eric Wedge. Michael Saunders in center field will lead off. Jason Bay in left field bats second. Batting third, playing third base, Kyle Seager. Kendrys Morales at first base cleans up. The number 5 hitter, right fielder Michael Morse. Raul Ibanez will DH, he'll bat sixth. Batting seventh and catching, Jesus Montero. Dustin Ackley, the second baseman, bats eighth. And batting ninth and playing shortstop, Brendan Ryan. Well, the Yankees won the first game 4-3. They lost last night 12-2. So who wins the series? We shall see. Andy Pettitte is ready. Michael Saunders is ready. And let's do it here in the Bronx. First pitch is foul back, and we are underway. Got a look there at Hector Noesi, who will be opposing Andy Pettitte. Our fill-in starter for Aaron Harang, former Yankee. Saunders with a fly ball to left field. Vernon Wells camps underneath it, and there's one away.
Well, let's take a look at Andy Pettitte, the 40-year-old veteran left-hander. This is his 18th season in the big leagues, coming off a nice start in Kansas City, the 4-2 record, very respectable 3.83 ERA. Let's take a look at the scout report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Going for 250 wins. This is his 499th career start. This will be the first attempt at that big number in his career. Tough on left-handers. There's 4 left-handers in this lineup. 5 for 35, a 143 batting average. That slider, when he's on top of it, down the way to lefty, awfully tough to hit. And Dandy in May, 41-28. He's got the highest win total, most innings pitched, and most strikeouts for any active major league pitcher.
There's a strike to Bay. Another strike. Bay has great numbers against Andy. 14 for 35. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. 76 degrees, 40% humidity, not much wind. It's clear and it is comfortable. Yankees have 3 infielders on the left side for Bay. And the count is full at 3-2. Andy working quickly, deals the full count, and that's grounded to short. Jason Nix, 2 outs. Well, we've seen a couple of them. Let's get the full defensive schematic for the Yankees. In the outfield, we've already seen Wells in left. There's Gardner in center and Ichiro Suzuki over and right. Adams in his second big league start. There's Nix, Cano, and Overbay third to first. Chris Stewart behind the plate. And the veteran 40-year-old left-hander Andrew Eugene Pettitte is on the mound. Here's Kyle Seager. Home plate umpire is Greg Gibson.
Good numbers for Kyle Seager. 2 for 4 last night. Had a home run.
Clip the outside corner, 1-1. One and two.
No, Al, you mentioned it with Andy Pettitte going for 250 wins tonight, and those numbers versus left-handers that you talked about, and of course no home runs, no damage so far against left-handers. But you know, this is his 500th start, winning half of his starts, 250. That's a remarkable percentage. It really is. I'll do a little research, but most guys that are in that 250 win category, it takes them a lot more than 500 starts to get to that 250 win thing. So almost directly half of his starts are wins.
2-2. High fly ball. Right field. Drifting back is Ichiro. And in front of the track, he'll make the play. So Andy works a 1-2-3 first. Seattle nothing. The New York Yankees coming to bat. Off their center fielder Brett Gardner. Jason Nix, the shortstop, at second. Batting third, playing second base, Robinson Cano. Vernon Wells in left field will clean up. Batting fifth, playing first base, Lyle Overbay. Curtis Granderson, the DH, hit sixth. The number 7 hitter. Third baseman, rookie David Adams. Ichiro Suzuki in right field will bat eighth, and batting ninth and catching Chris Stewart.
Pettitte Noese. Emergency start. Aaron Harang was supposed to start, had a sore back. Yankee fans remember him. He was in the Jesus Montero trade for Michael Pineda, Jose Campo. See his numbers all out of the bullpen. Let's take a look at the scout report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Long man, ready and waiting. I'll tell you that you're in that position. You give 4 or 5 innings. You're capable of starting. Well, this is his opportunity. Starter question mark. Last year at 18 starts, he was 2-12. With a 6.24 ERA, not good. And fastball command, 63% of his pitches are fastball. His average velocity is a little over 93 miles an hour. Has a tendency to spray the fastball up in the zone, gets a little careless.
Gardner tries the bunt and fouls it back.
I might have to put a little disclaimer on that. Most young pitchers, especially those with Noese's velocities of 4-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, change, curveball, have a tendency to overthrow at times. You get a velocity that 94, 95, still hard to square up.
Yeah, Noese's always had a nice, easy delivery, a nice loose arm. Ball really jumps onto home plate. Good changeup. I think the question was that breaking ball, getting more consistent or coming up with an out pitch. See, that's easy gas right there at 95 miles an hour.
He gave up 21 home runs last year. Of the 21 home runs Noese gave up, 5 of them were on 0-2 counts. Talking about that careless nature, and also too, David, what you just said, that put away breaking ball.
The 0-2. Tonight's closed captioning brought to you by Lexus.
Eric Wedge got to be happy. 1-1. This is a rubber match here. Really, King Felix kept coming out early in game 1, playing a good ball game.
CC matched up with Felix Hernandez. Neither involved in the decision. Phil Hughes got just 2 outs, gave up 7 runs yesterday. Count 3-2.
One of the worst parts of being a starting pitcher, Al. You sit in the dugout after that, you got to wait 4 more days. You got knocked out in the first inning last night, Phil Hughes, that is. But that's just tough to swallow. You just can't wait to get back out there again, but you've got to wait your turn.
That one is looped into left field, and Bay makes the play. They had him played well. Let's take a look at the way the Mariners defense stacks up. Bay, Saunders, and Morse left to right in the outfield. You got Seager, Ryan, who's really got good range at shortstop. Ackley at second. Morales over at first. Jesus Montero. The Mariners are 14-8 in his 22 starts behind the plate, and Hector Noese is on the mound.
Well, Montero catches when Felix, and last night Iwakuma's very good pitcher. They have a nice 1-2 combination, the Mariners do. You have a good shot at winning with those 2 guys on the mound.
Well, the combination of Hernandez and Iwakuma, 18 starts, they have a combined 1.68 ERA. After that, there's a big drop-off, but they do, we talked about this yesterday, they do give you quality starts. They have 25 quality starts as a staff, and the American League leader is Detroit with 26, as Knicks has got them. Yankees baseball is available in Spanish by hitting the SAP button on your television, and SAP is brought to you by Infinity.
Well, that's sort of the age-old saying in baseball. You know, pitching and defense can keep you in a lot of games, and it's ringing true in Seattle. As they're, you know, as we said, they're right around 500, a little under. You contrast that to a team like Houston. Houston actually offensively is kind of middle of the pack in their numbers across the board, but they're pitching dead last, and it's hard to stay in games and win games that way.
You know, you mentioned, David, how it's tough to be a pitcher like Hughes and be in the dugout. After the game yesterday, he said he's going to have trouble sleeping the next couple of days, and he added it was probably the worst start of his career.
It's a lot easier for a position player to turn the page because they get to play the next day. Starting pitcher, you got to wait.
And you constantly going over, what did I do? Why did I throw that pitch? But you know what? You throw it out. It counts as a loss. Other than your ERA going up, you didn't help your team because you had to allow the bullpen to get 26 outs or 25 outs.
2-0, swings and misses, 1-2.
Well, you can almost see Felix Hernandez's influence on Hector Noesi already. I mean, that power changeup Noesi just threw 89, 90 miles an hour. Very similar to Felix Hernandez in that regard. And almost his windup has changed a little bit. He really closes off his delivery just like Felix does.
High fly ball. Shallow right center. Saunders is there. He puts it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. We've played one at the stadium. Neither team has scored. Conversation. Do you think there will be another 300-game winner in baseball? Why or why not? And here's one of the responses from S. Smith 34. No, as long as teams have 5-man rotations, pitchers are pitching fewer games. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Prius to keep the conversation going.
I have to agree with him. I mean, here you got Andy Pettitte, 18 seasons, as good a career as he's had. He's coming up on 250 as a 40-year-old.
Well, a prime example is sitting in the Yankee dugout. CC Sabathia. He's 32 years old, and he has 195 career wins.
Putting him on pace for...
How long can he pitch? How long does he want to pitch? Does he want to pitch till he's 40 to 42 years old? 10 more years to get 105 wins? That's reachable. Depending on how many years he gets out of the back end of his career. But CC Sabathia has a Hall of Fame career base, as they say. You got to build the base. Just 32 years old, already got 10 years in the big league, so you got to get an early start. Yep. Started in his early 20s. He's a 10-year veteran now, right around the 200 win mark. CC Sabathia stays healthy the way he pitches. If he can go even 8 more years, do the math. It's reachable if he just stays on his career averages.
There's Michael Morse. 1-0.
Easier said than done.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's not too long ago, right? Tom Glavine just got 300 a little before that. And I guess Randy Johnson in there along with Greg Maddux.
So I just added this up in my head real quick, Al. If CC averages 15 wins a year for the next 8 years, he'll have 315 wins. Okay, I didn't add it up in my head.
No, you know.
So even if he averages for the next 7 years, he'll have 300 wins on the nose. That would take him to 39.
Right. 7's better than 8. You're at 300. It's tough.
The take a look at the active wins leaders. You've got Pettitte at 249. Halladay, who just had shoulder surgery today, 201. Hudson 201. Sabathia 195. And Derek Lowe 176.
Sabathia by far the youngest in that category.
Looking at this Mariner lineup, yesterday must have felt like the biggest day of the year with 17 hits, 12 runs. They've been basically last or second to last in almost every offensive category. Eric Wedge, the manager of the Mariners, huge explosion of hits and runs. And if the guy up that they just acquired, he actually played with the Mariners, Michael Morse, a couple of years ago, 31 home runs, 95 RBIs with the Nationals.
What a difference a night makes. Averaging 3.5 runs a game and 12 last night. Lined into center field. Late jump for Gardner. He can't get there, so it's a base hit. As Morales moves to second.
Well, Andy makes a good pitch. These are frustrating hits for any pitcher. You make a good pitch. Now Michael Morse, he was able to stay back enough. He's a strong hitter here. You can see just getting off the end of the bat. Was able to get it out there far enough. Let's see Gardner's jump. Kind of froze momentarily, but his speed just perfectly placed.
And Morse has got great play coverage. You know, obviously a big guy, long arms. He's shown he'll go up the middle and the other way. I kind of thought he was more of a dead pull guy, but not this series. He's shown to be able to go outside, even almost off the plate, and hit the ball the other way.
Swing and a miss. First ex-Yankee with 3 home runs in a series against him since Jay Buhner did it. 1992 with Seattle. 0-2.
Didn't Jay Buhner hit one out by the old ambulance in the old stadium?
Yes.
That's what led to sort of his references on Seinfeld, right?
Yep. By Mr. Costanza.
Mr. Costanza. One of the funniest skits ever.
Well, that pitch right there, Abani's going to have a tough time. That breaking ball down and away. Well, immediately, Greg Gibson called it on the swing, and hitters do not like that. Abani's, how do you track the baseball and then still see whether you check swing or not? Abani's wanted a little help from Alan Porter, the third base umpire.
Eric Wedge lets you know how he feels about it. You can almost see Gibson looking at the ball in the dirt and then looked back to Ibanez and said, you went, and that's a check swing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think he went.
Montero was 2 for 5 yesterday, and we talked the first game of the series about this was probably the best place for him as a hitter because he has power the other way, and in his lifetime, a short sample size, obviously, he's a 404 hitter with 4 home runs and 14 RBIs here at Yankee Stadium. And although they shortened the fences or brought him in at Safeco, not as much to right field. It's still a decent poke.
Yeah. Well, they didn't move it into right field. It was really left center field and lowered the fence in left field.
That one is drilled to left field. Vernon Wells for the second out. So 2 down. That brings up Dustin Ackley.
Well, I think this is the guy the Mariners are really looking to get going. I mean, he provides them a lot of speed. You know, he's been a top prospect for a while. Second baseman. It's the on-base percentage. A guy with his speed's got to get on base more.
Count 0-2.
I think the Mariners still have high hopes for him. But if you can get him going, get him on the bases a little more, and trending through the minor leagues, his minor league career, he was pretty good in that regard. Doesn't strike out a lot, did take his walks, but it's kind of reversed so far here this year and a little bit of last year as well.
When you to have the 2nd overall pick in 2009, he was drafted at the University of North Carolina, first round. There's huge expectation, and so far he's been a bit of a disappointment. You said it, his numbers were flipped. He walked more in the minor leagues, struck out less. And, you know, obviously the big leagues pitching gets tougher. Add a little pressure.
Yeah, they need him to get going.
1-2. Line drive, base hit. Morales rounds third. He's heading home. Morse goes to third. Ackley picks himself up an RBI double, and Seattle's up 1-0.
Right on cue as Andy tries to get that cutter down and away, and you see Stewart reach over all the way to the middle end part of the plate. And the problem when you throw your cutters that way, those are the ones that are a little flatter. They didn't quite have the bite that they normally do, and just speeds up Ackley's bat.
Ackley's 4th double, 6 RBIs on the season, 4 coming in.
There's Brendan Ryan, and that one is laced to right field. And is it caught? Yes, it is. Ichiro with a shoestring catch saves 2 runs, and Brendan Ryan cannot believe his luck or lack thereof. Andy Pettitte escapes, giving up just 1 run. This was the play that held the damage down to a minimum. 1 run, 2 hits, and 2 left thanks to Ichiro. 1-0 Rams. Wendelstedt between innings, probably arguing more the check swing than the play in right field. He gets out there, has a couple of words, and then Wendelstedt heard enough, and he gets tossed.
It's kind of been coming on the whole series. In game 1, Mariano Rivera's last pitch of the game looked like it was inside. Thought Furbush got squeezed a little bit in that big inning where the Yankees ended up coming back. And sometimes those things build up over a series, and Eric Wedge just let it all out.
So he is tossed. And Robbie Thompson, his bench coach, will take over as manager.
Pretty quick toss. Hunter Wendelstedt, his dad, longtime umpire Harry Wendelstedt.
Let's take a look at Ichiro Suzuki's catch. And that was clean. And he chases a pitch way out of the zone. 1 out.
Yeah, that was nasty. Nyea just attacked Vernon Wells' fastball away. He's got a little cross shoot. Throws slightly across his body. And at 94, the reason why he swung at this was because it looked like a fastball last minute. If you don't see that little dot, good down and away break. That's a nasty slider. Protect mode, too late.
That's been the missing link for Nyea. A little cutter, something he can, off of that changeup. Good fastball, good change. That's his third best pitch.
Overbay fouls it away.
You mentioned last inning, David, about watching Nyea and how you could learn from a guy like King Felix. We talk often about how pitchers on this staff could learn from Mariano. You learn from a lot of guys watching how they get it done. Obviously, a Cy Young Award winner as good as King Felix is, and you're also a right-handed pitcher, can kind of pick up some ideas and maybe play catch in the outfield and tinker with your grips.
We've seen it with the Yankees with David Robertson and Mariano Rivera. It seems like with each passing year, Robbie's fastball's looking more and more like Mariano's, or Mariano-like.
In home games, Lyle Overbay is the Yankees' leading hitter.
Clutch hitter, too. How many big key hits so far early in this season Lyle Overbay has given the Yankees?
Overbay swings and misses.
Got away with one there. A hanging changeup right now with Nyea having plus velocity in that 94-95 range. Changeup middle of the plate. Lyle Overbay. Now good arm speed. I mean, David just said about this being a good secondary pitch for him. Middle of the plate, about 8-9 miles an hour slower than his fastball.
Granderson DHing tonight, takes a pitch high, 1-0. Oh, 2-0. Only his third career start as DH. Hammered down the right field line, but foul.
Little too quick. 2-0 heater. Granderson was ready for it. A little different as a designated hitter. Third time in his career, sitting around waiting for his chance to get his at bat.
2-2. And the pitch. Now 3-2.
Look, Michael, it's like a light switch went off today in New York City. All of a sudden the weather turned. Almost 80 degrees in Central Park today.
Actually feels summery.
Finally.
3-2. You've been hitting the park a lot lately, huh, David?
Every day. You gotta walk the little fella, you know?
Now, do you stroll him or do you walk him?
Both. Both. He doesn't like the stroller anymore. He likes to get out and walk. Likes to flirt with the girls, too.
Wonder where he got that from.
Can't figure that one out.
The 3-2. Nub slowly up the third baseline. Going to be a tough play for Noese. He can't make it. He throws it into foul territory. As Granderson will reach. Should probably eaten that one and given up the base hit, but it's a base hit and an E1.
Well, let's take a look. Granderson, a good runner, slow roller. Noese instinctively, you just get up, fire, and should have made a better throw. I don't know where Ackley was. There was nobody back there. As you see on the Mercedes-Benz Yesmo, grabs it with his hand, slow roller. That's what you're taught to do. Step and throw. Got underneath it a little bit. Tough throw for Morales to handle. A little bit of a sinking action, bang, bang.
Yeah, Morales kind of got caught on trying to stay on the bag and pick it as opposed to come off the bag and just save that ball from going down the line. I think Keith Hernandez, the great first baseman for the Mets, is one of the best I've ever seen at that. He could gauge where the runner was down the line and know exactly when to come off the bag and save a bad throw.
That'll bring up David Adams. Picked up his first big league hit yesterday in his major league debut.
On his birthday.
26th birthday. Those are the numbers he put together in 27 games at AAA. Driven out to right field. That's over the head of Morse and up against the wall. Granderson scores, and David Adams with his first RBI, his first extra base hit, and he's tied the game at 1.
Well, the errors hurt the Mariners. After the errant throw, Granderson at second base. Morse, not the fastest right fielder in baseball, made a nice effort. Good stroke by David Adams. Stayed on that ball. It was a fastball up out over the plate. Good hitting.
That's a nice swing, you know, and that's how he got here. We mentioned it before. First Major League RBI tonight, got his first hit last night.
Ichiro Suzuki grounds one to Ackley, and that will do it. Ichiro is now 0 for his last 21, but Adams' double ties the game. We'll go to the third at 1-1. Pure Medical Center, Inspired Medicine. Greinke pitched yesterday, pitched well. Halladay underwent shoulder surgery today. David Price placed on a 15-day DL with that triceps problem. Breaking ball strike to Saunders, so the game is tied at 1 on the Lincoln scoreboard. Saunders played in the World Baseball Classic this year for Team Canada. And he was 8 for 11 with 7 RBIs in 3 games.
Good player, Michael. He's coming into his own. You know, they've always liked him, and his physique, he plays center field. Little deceiving, can run. Looks like he's got more of a physique for a guy that hit 25, 30 home runs. This guy's an athlete. Was a hockey player in British Columbia, Vancouver.
Swing and a miss. Down on strikes. There's a strike. Saunders flied out to left, then struck out today. He's 0 for 2. Line drive, foul.
You know, Al, doing a little research before the game. You know, I love to go to the website. So many good ones. Fangraphs.com, baseballreference.com. The 3 most similar pitchers to Andy Pettitte's career in terms of numbers, according to Baseball Reference.
Swing and miss. Bay down on strikes.
Another good cutter. And good velocity, 86 miles an hour from Andy. That's up a little bit than what he's had recently. The most similar pitcher to Andy Pettitte, as you look at this backdoor cutter. Down, had good depth to it. His base swings over the top of it. David Wells. David Wells is the most similar pitcher to Andy Pettitte in terms of career numbers. Number 2, Mike Mussina. And number 3, Kevin Brown. 3 former Yankees.
With Seager up, let's take a look at the Chrysler Hitters Scouting Report.
Well, Kyle Seager, I mean, team leader. Currently leads the team in average hits, RBIs, and runs. He led the team in those categories last year. He was the 2012 Player of the Year, as voted on by the baseball writers. And talk about coming from family business. Well, he had a competitive household. His brother Corey was the Dodgers' first-round pick, 17th overall in 2012, and got another brother, Justin, that's an infielder at UNC Charlotte. And in the clutch, this is what really stands out to me, that this guy's a player. You know, he's ranked 2nd in the AL last year with 44 2-out RBIs, trailing only Miguel Cabrera, the great Miguel Cabrera. So, you know, it seems like when he gets in the clutch, he really picks it up a notch. He narrows his focus. It's a 32-point higher batting average with runners on base compared to bases empty. That's a nice trend.
Well, talking about this Mariner offense, it really, I think the key this year for Jack Zarensik, the general manager, put together this team. We saw what Ibanez has done during this series. It is the key element of the older players, Kendrys Morales, Michael Morse, even a guy like Ibanez and Jason Bay, to allow guys like Kyle Seager and Michael Saunders to be compliments.
Grounded to Cano. Andy Pettitte works a 1-2-3 third inning. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Chris Stewart will lead it off.
Well, Al and I talked about sort of Felix Hernandez's influence on Hector Noesi, and on the left is when he was a Yankee. And notice his leg kick right at the top. It's almost straight up as a Yankee. But on the right side, the Seattle, he's really closed off that knee, chin to the shoulder, hiding the ball much better, and that's kind of how Felix Hernandez does it. More of a power move on the right side.
That's great.
He deals to Chris Stewart a strike.
That is really good. Great direct illustration of, there's no doubt about it, similar to Felix Hernandez. Of that little turn, stay tucked, closed.
Now, Noesi was a Yankee farmhand, actually pitched for the Yankees as well, but he came to Seattle in that big deal. That got Jesus Montero here and Michael Pineda to the Yankees. And a lot of people thought that Noesi was the sleeper in that deal. Everybody knew what Montero was projected to do, but Noesi has a live arm. Fly ball, left center, Saunders. One down. Let's take a look at the entire trade. So the sleeper on the Mariners side could be Noesi, and it could be Campos on the Yankee side, although there are good reports with Pineda coming back from shoulder surgery. Campos is young. He had surgery as well coming back. And if the Yankees could get one of those two to be a contributor in the rotation, they'll take that.
Well, they said in the rehab starts that Pineda, his velocity's back to pre-injury. And if that's the case, I mean, he threw 95 better, 96, 97.
Well, the first half of a couple of seasons ago, Pineda was extremely impressive. Averaging in the mid-90s on his fastball and topping out higher than that, 97, 98.
Now, Noesi also had surgery, had Tommy John surgery in 2007, and you just wonder the violent motion of a pitcher. Does anybody get out of it without some kind of scar? Does anybody start to finish just never get some kind of surgery?
Mike Mussina comes to mind. But good point, Mike. It's an unnatural motion. They'll walk around with their arms above their head.
Well, in order to throw a baseball like this, you have to create a little laxity or a little movement in the capsule in the shoulder region. So it's almost like you have to tear your arm up just a little bit in order to get the extension you need.
Fly ball center field, drifting back Saunders. He retires Gardner for the second out. MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere.
Well, as progressive as baseball has been, it's getting better and better. Pitch counts, appropriate rest, strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, they have it. They have it all. And the medicine just keeps getting better. Technology.
Now, we talked about Pineda, and he's going to throw tomorrow in Tampa, extended spring. And he's going to throw 4 innings or about 50 pitches. They could get him back, because I know the look on GM's faces when one of their pitchers are having shoulder surgery. Elbow surgery doesn't seem like it scares anybody, other than that you lose a guy from here, but shoulder surgery, people get concerned. In 2011, as a rookie with Seattle, 4th in wins, 4th in ERA, 1st in strikeouts, 2nd in innings. 2nd Jeremy Hellickson in innings. He could really bring it, the 2-1. You came back from shoulder surgery.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Michael, I thought I was done. I had little success prior to my surgeries. I had my first surgery at 23, my second at 25, almost 25 years old. I went back to college, got my degree. Thought I was done. It's 13 more years.
But did you ever throw as hard as you had before the surgery?
I think I threw for a few years. Yeah, I threw as hard.
2-2.
I remember matching up with you when you were with the Marlins. 1997-ish.
96, I think it was the first year of interleague.
1996, and it was the first time they were putting radar readings on the scoreboards. And you were throwing 97 miles an hour, and the ball was cutting. And you threw me a curveball to try to get me out.
I remember that. You were so bad. You needed Cecil Fielder on that team, I remember. That's a good team.
2-2. Strike three. Knicks down looking as the Yankees go down in order. We're going to the fourth. It's a 1-1 game on Yes. Smokers Quit Line quiz. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS for free help today. With his next victory, we told you Andy Pettitte can become the second pitcher from the 1990 draft with 250 wins. Who's the other? Here's Kendrys Morales. There's a strike. Base hit to lead off the fourth inning. You look at Morales, he never really does that much smiling. Looks kind of serious, and one of the few times in his career where he was smiling and celebrating, it ended disastrously. He hit a walk-off game winner in the 10th inning against the Mariners, jumped up, came down on home plate, and broke his ankle.
Unbelievable.
Missed a year.
Good hitter. That year, or the year before that, 306, 34 home runs.
Well, we see in 2009, he was becoming a star, but he missed 273 games from 2010 to 2011. Wow. All for jumping on home plate.
Metal spikes against a rubber home plate, coming down from a vertical of however high he jumped. Not a good match.
Ball gets by Stewart as Morales goes to second, and add in the fact his whole team around him jumping up and down. Not a good recipe. After that injury, a lot of people stopped those celebrations at home plate. It looks like they're coming back, though.
Well, now they just beat the heck out of you.
Yeah.
Punching everybody all the time. Fastball count, open base. I know Ibanez is hot. In lefty on lefty. Pulled the string. The 2-1 fastball count. Andy, intelligent pitcher, realizing the power and strength of Michael Morse. You don't want to give in there. Not to say you want to walk him.
It's really interesting the way Morse holds the bat. I'm trying to think about other hitters I've seen kind of like that. A full extension with his arms from that point, almost fully extended there from the start position, and then he kind of brings them in once the pitch is on the way.
Almost looks like he's holding it over a table.
Obviously a big guy with long arms. You know, you got to test him inside to see if he can handle getting around on the inside pitches.
That one is inside as Morse walks. With Ibanez coming up, we go to the Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile. Talking about multi-home run games. Since 2009, Mark Teixeira leads with 7. Granderson 6. Nick Swisher 6. Cano 5. So a lot of home runs for Yankees. And then Raul Ibanez. These were at Yankee Stadium. Popped up. Andy Pettitte saying he got it. He makes a basket catch. Quick as a cat at 40.
Wow. Andy immediately looking at Chris Stewart. I think that's Chris Stewart's ball. Maybe it just didn't pick it up. You try not to have your pitcher get it. He just immediately saw where Stewart was and ended up calling off the catcher. The Mercedes-Benz Yes-Mo.
2 hands.
Nice play.
He called it right away.
Let's see Chris Stewart here. He looks up. See him just a split second. Command, too. Call him off. Wow. Call it. Good pitch. Fastball in. Struck out Ibanez, who went slider, curveball, slider in his previous at bat to Ibanez strikeout, and then fisted a fastball. Good pitch.
See, Montero showing a little more patience tonight. I think that was one of the knocks from some of the Seattle scouts is, you know, just 6 walks. Montero this is, and 90 at bats. You know, you'd like to see him get a little deeper in counts. Been kind of a free swinger since he's gone out there. It's the second at bat in a row where he's got into hitters counts. 3-0 here. If you're going to have that kind of ratio where you're walking 6 times every 90 or 100 at bats, you better be hitting some homers. You better be doing some damage.
And he walks on 4 pitches. Now, I'd like to clarify the stat that I gave before. Those were multi-home run games at Yankee Stadium, not around Major League Baseball. That's why, of course, there were Yankees on that list. But Raul Ibanez with 3 home runs here in the last 2 games and picked up one of those multi-home run games as a Mariner, as a visitor. So bases loaded, big spot in this game. With Dustin Ackley at the plate, he drove in the only run for the Mariners with a double in the second. Ackley likes hitting with the bases loaded in his young career. How about this? 13 for 21.
Wow. 619 batting average. That's a guy who just realizes that the pitcher's in trouble. They can come to you.
Missed outside. Ooh. You didn't like that call?
No. That ball looked had plate coverage. Corner.
Are those the sounds you let out on the mound with that type of pitch?
Well, you know what? A little goofy there. Chris Stewart looked like he may have got crossed up a little bit.
He thought, as they talk about it, maybe he was looking for a little more cut action on that. As you saw, his glove was anticipating further out and ended up, close to the black or on the black. So he almost had to reach back towards home plate.
I'd have to refrain from any sounds, Michael.
Really?
It upsets the umpires.
1-1. Even he just grunted in disgust?
Yeah, maybe so.
You kind of grunted when you threw the ball.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
I did. I didn't. There were certain umpires who just didn't eyeball. It didn't matter. You knew that some guy didn't like it. The strike zone would get even smaller.
You got a little Monica Seles in you.
2-1. This could be 2. They're going to come home for 1. They do. That's all they'll get. So Overbay did not think he could turn 2. Said, let me get the runner at home plate. He knew Morales didn't have speed. And that's the second out.
Well, the only way you can make a play like this is if you anticipate the situation before it happens. If the ball's hit to me, Ackley can fly. Probably not going to get a double play. So let's just go ahead right away, no indecision, and knock off that run at home. Good job by Stewart, receiving that ball and staying on home plate.
Playing a little first baseman. Nice play.
The minor league coaches pound into their players. You have to anticipate beforehand what you're going to do.
Ryan lines one foul.
You can't just wait out there and make the split-second decision. That's a play, and a lot of plays throughout the game where you have to anticipate right now on the dead time in between pitches, where you have to think, okay, the ball's hit to me, who's running, what's going to go on here, this is what I'm going to do in this situation. And that's the only way Overbay could have made that play.
Well, especially where he was standing, because he was really in double play depth. He wasn't up.
It's easy to daydream out there a lot of times. That's what you talk about when fielders get on their heels, the pitchers don't work fast. It all works in sync. A pitcher works fast, throws strikes. Defenders out there who anticipate the flow of the game better.
Seattle not good in these situations. Ryan robbed of 2 RBIs in the second inning. A sinking liner to right, grabbed off the grass by Ichiro Suzuki. So he's down on count 0-2. Grounded in the hole. Nice play by Nix. He has no play, but he saved another run. 1 run did score. And Seattle leads 2-1, an infield single for Ryan and an RBI. And Larry Rothschild wants to talk with Pettitte.
Well, after the play Lyle Overbay made, and Ryan's been struggling, the .083 batting average. Nice play by Nix. Just had a little bit of a double take. I think with Ackley's speed, it wouldn't have mattered. Nice play knocking the ball down. Did save an additional run.
Yeah, just getting to that ball at that point, there's no play anywhere.
There, right there. Good play.
This chiropractic telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Locked in. Yes.
Locked in for more runs. Andy Pettitte's thrown 21 pitches this inning. 67 overall. 2-1 Seattle. Ryan came into that at bat before the infield single, 5 for his last 60. 1-1.
Larry Rothschild, like every pitching coach, just live and die with every pitch. Chart, go over it, scatter report, sit with your catcher, the pitcher. He's into every pitch outside of doing it mentally.
Really good pitching coach. Obviously, he has managerial experience as well with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at the time.
The pitch. Grounded to Nix. Goes across the diamond to make the play, and that'll do it. But Seattle takes the lead 1 run on 2 hits, and the bases are left loaded. Quit line quiz. With his next victory, Andy Pettitte can become the second pitcher from the 1990 draft with 250 wins. Who's the other?
My guess is Mussina.
Let's see if you're right. Wow.
Come on.
Was that inside info, or did you really know that, Dave?
I can't divulge my secrets up here.
Good job. Cano fouls it away. No, we talked about guys that might win 300. Mussina stepped away after a 20-win season to 270, and it just wasn't important enough for him to stick around for. Maybe it could have been 3 years he had a pitch. Certainly was in shape enough to do it.
Walked out on top, 20-game winner. For the first time in his career, too, right at the end. There's something to be said for protecting the quality of your numbers, and Mussina, well over 100 games over 500.
Great career, 18 big league seasons, 10 with the O's, 8 with the Yanks. All-Star 5 times, 7 Gold Gloves.
That record right there, despite my bad penmanship, just about, you know, I think almost every pitcher who is 100 games over 500 in their career is in the Hall of Fame. There might be an exception, but by and large, you know, whether you're 200 wins and 100 losses or 250 and 150, 100 games over 500, the quality of that winning percentage is probably good enough to get Mike Mussina in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
No Cy Young?
No Cy Young.
Does it matter?
Everything matters. Yeah, everything adds up.
I mean, but your point well taken. How was the Cy Young won one of those years?
Grounded slowly left side. And Cano just gets thrown out by Seager.
Nice play by Kyle Seager, cutting off Brendan Ryan, making a quick throw. I think he got him.
Kind of the difference between hitting the middle of the bag a little bit with your foot rather than the front edge. Not bad, though. Very close. We saw Brendan Ryan almost break his ankle trying to just nip the front part of the bag going down the line. Just to save, a fraction of a second. Derek Jeter, one of the best I've ever seen, especially batting right-handed, getting down the line and consistently in stride, hitting the front part of the bag, through the bag. Watch where Cano's foot lands.
Wow. Count 2-1.
There's been a lot of those bang bang plays this series.
Vernon Wells has swung the bat beautifully over the last 10 games. Having trouble with that pitch from Noesi, though. He struck out on that same pitch in the second.
That is a tough pitch to lay off. That is 86-mile-an-hour slider. As you said, Mike, his previous at bat, same exact pitch struck him out.
Ouch. So you want your kid to be a catcher, huh? 93 miles an hour coming in, a little tip of the bat and right off your shoulder, and also Gibson too, the umpire.
Great exchange today between Mike Blowers and David Cohn in the press room, where there's Mike, who's now a broadcaster, former Yankee, and played third base for the Mariners. Did a good job, had power. And David said hello. He said, and Blowers said, I'm still trying to figure out how I was always looking for your slider and I could still never hit it.
What'd you tell him?
I just remember Blowers is having some real big pop in his bat. Seeing him hit some mammoth home runs. Power to straightaway center and right center. He had a nice run. He had a real powerful swing.
Told a great story about David was pitching one day, 3-2, and he walks into the clubhouse and is not in the lineup. And he walks past Lou Pinella's office, and Lou said, "You know the numbers?" And Blauer said, "No." He goes, 0 for 17. Blauer said, "Thank you very much."
That's how he hits the slider. He sits.
Laid off that one, so Wells works a walk.
I don't get that at bat. From Noesi's perspective, that slider, he swung. Vernon Wells swung and missed. Like he didn't see it, couldn't hit it, and then he ended up throwing a fastball, Nick's Montero, and then a couple changeups in a row. I'd have gone right to the well. If it show a hitter that he can't hit it, he's missing it by 2 feet.
I agree. And, it's still a bit of a work in process for Noesi. And even though we've seen a couple of good ones tonight, as you said to Wells, that little slider that breaks away from the right-handed batter, that's his third best pitch. He really likes his changeup. But I agree with you, Al. Maybe take another shot and see if you can get a swing and miss.
Gosh, could that be a product of a young battery, young pitcher, young catcher?
It's a product of a young battery, and it's a product of confidence on the mound. What you believe your best finish pitch is. For Noesi, it's always been his changeup.
Count 2-0.
I'm just saying, the previous at bat he missed. Now that's from that angle, but it's a good 1.5 feet. And he missed it to strike out his first at bat. Why not throw it? I mean, there were guys where I just faced. I said, even if he knows it's coming, I don't think he can hit it.
Overbay to shallow left. A little bit of a collision between Ryan and Bay, but Ryan makes the play.
Yell it out. You heard Andy Pettitte calling off on a little pop-up right near the catcher. Obviously, we can't hear it. The rule of thumb is once the outfielder calls you off, you're supposed to peel off. And Ryan camped.
A little shot to the head.
He had a concussion issue years ago, right?
But it was Ryan who got the shot to the head.
Right. I'm saying. Right.
Yeah, Bay did.
Jason Bay.
That really derailed his Met career. I think he ran into the wall at Dodger Stadium.
You hear that call from home plate umpire Gibson right there. It's almost like a little flinch. He's following that pitch on the inside corner, and then he yells out with a little flinch, ball in. Almost like he wanted to call it for a strike and then changed his mind. Very difficult for home plate umpires nowadays. So much technology in the game, ball tracking technology, pitch effects. Baseball employs sort of the same technology that's used by the military that track ballistic missiles. Now the pitches are tracked to home plate. You get a CD after every game telling you how many pitches you missed according to this radar system.
2-2.
And as a result of the percentage, good or bad, will determine whether they get an all-star appearance, postseason, World Series. Accountability, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's how it breaks down by innings. 67 overall. Strike three. Granderson down looking. No runs, no hits, no errors. One man left. We're taking it to the fifth. It's a 2-1 game. Thank you, Bob. We'll hear from Bob and Meredith a little bit later on. Jason Bay fouls it back. Just a great, heartwarming story from that game. A little 9-year-old girl whose father is stationed in the Middle East threw out the first pitch. Her father's picture's on the scoreboard. And the catcher has the mask on. She throws the pitch. The catcher takes the mask off. It's her dad. Place goes nuts.
Oh, my gosh. So, how great would that be?
I'm welling up. Got
Really?
a Kleenex?
I do.
That is sad. And happy at the same time.
Right.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Bay strikes out for the second time. Tonight's Cold Hard Fact is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Let's see what it is today. All-time wins. So Andy's at 249. Bob Gibson is next on the list for Andy at 251. Paul Hubble, Red Faber, and Jack Morris. Andy's right now tied with Vic Willis. Here's Seager.
You know, David, you were mentioning early about the impressive over 100 games that Andy's won over his losses. 105 more games he's won than lost. Going for a 250th potential win. As impressive as that is, there's only 5 guys with fewer losses that have won 250 games since 1945 to today. Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux, Jim Palmer, and Tom Seaver.
At the 250 mark.
At the 250 mark with plus, well, Andy's at plus 105. All Hall of Famers.
Well, at some point, the debate to whether you get into the Hall of Fame or not, you know, for any player, you know, not Andy Pettitte's case, but qualitative over quantitative numbers. You know the milestones, you get 3,000 hits, you're in. Derek Jeter, they already have a space dusted off in Cooperstown for that guy. But at what point do you make that argument where your numbers are so qualitatively good that you don't have to get to 300 wins?
Yeah, that's it. You know what? I said all Hall of Famers. Randy Johnson will be. Who knows with Roger Clemens?
A prime example of that would be Pedro Martinez. Pedro with just a little over 200 wins in his career, but he does have over 3,000 strikeouts. But for me, he's an automatic Hall of Famer.
Something's up with Andy Pettitte as Rothschild, Girardi, and Mark Littlefield are going out to the mound. They saw something. And this is an injury trip to the mound right now. Let's see what's going on. Trying to state his case there.
Well, maybe if we get a chance to see his delivery, maybe is there any Winston delivery? Let's take a look here if there's anything that's noticeable. Not really.
There's a lot of talking on that mound. And they're not allowing him to throw yet.
Well, he did miss a start earlier this year with a little back problem, maybe back spasms, I believe, or tightness in his back.
Well, that's it. So Andy strikes out 2 batters here in the 5th inning, and he leaves. We'll try to find out what's going on as the Yankees have to go to the bullpen. by the experienced Buick lease. It's a new lease on luxury. Kind of stunning. We couldn't pick up anything from Andy, and he struck out Kyle Seager. And you see Joe Girardi talking with Greg Gibson, the home plate umpire. And Sean Kelly will come in and have as much time as he needs. And you see the numbers on Kelly, former Mariner. We're not going to sit here and guess what's wrong. We're not doctors from 300 feet away, but obviously he's injured, but we don't know what the deal is. See Kelly, 25 strikeouts and 15 in the third innings. He's got a killer slider. That's his swing and miss pitch, and a pretty good fastball as well. Want you to come out to Yankee Stadium this Sunday, May 19th, for a special giveaway when the Yankees take on the Blue Jays. The first 18,000 guests in attendance are going to receive a Yankees t-shirt courtesy of Party City. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Now, we have no idea what's wrong with Andy. We have no idea the severity of what's wrong with Andy. But this has been a season where one after the other, big names going down, and the Yankees somehow able to absorb the loss. Derek Jeter, who actually Joe Girardi gave a good report on Derek today, where he took another MRI and the bone is actually healing. The hole is getting a little bit smaller, so that outlook is good for Derek. But I mean, we show you the injury list every single day. Euclid, A-Rod, Jeter, Chamberlain, Granderson was on there, Teixeira, Eduardo Nunez. It just goes on, and somehow they've survived it. Ivan Nova, Francisco Cervelli, nothing to laugh about. Travis Hapner's not on the DL, but he's day-to-day, had a cortisone shot in his right shoulder. Nothing seems to derail this team. Those are injuries that you lose two of those guys, and you could say, you know, I can understand this team not playing well. They've somehow absorbed it. They don't want to use it as an excuse, and everyone's hoping right now that Andy's not on that list.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're not going to speculate. You know, who knows? We'll find out. You know, looking at that list, there are players that have been given opportunity. Some of the pickups that Brian Cashman has made is paid off mightily. I mean, the first thing as I'm looking at that list, Michael, I'm thinking Vernon Wells and Lyle Overbay immediately as to how well they've filled in, and guys like Jason Nix who are getting opportunities to play and get the at bats. Players picking up where they need to, and that's a sign of a deep organization, good players.
So another early exit for a Yankee starter. Yesterday was because of ineffectiveness by Phil Hughes, and today it's because of an injury. Yankees do have another arm in the bullpen. Brett Marshall threw 108 pitches in relief yesterday, and so they sent him down, and they called up Dellin Betances, one of the killer bees, and luckily for them, about a week and a half ago, they decided to convert him from starter to reliever. So hard-throwing, big right-hander, lost the strike zone as a starter, but he's in the bullpen today. Morales fouls it off. And there is that roster move. And we kind of knew that was happening to Brett Marshall. When you throw that many pitches, you become a relief pitcher that you can't use for 5 days, so that doesn't help the Yankees. So he was optioned to AAA, and Betances was called up. And the reason Jabba wasn't activated, he's just not ready yet. They want him to have another rehab appearance.
Yeah, when you have options left and you're a young player, that's what happens. So with Vidal Nuno.
Strike three. Morales down looking. So all three Mariners go down in order. 2 pitchers, 3 strikeouts. We're halfway through. 2-1 Seattle. It's a game again now that you can watch live Yes Network Yankees games on your PCs or laptops with Time Warner Cable. Get a full season of live Yankees games on the go for just $29.99. If you're a Time Warner Cable customer, go to yesnetwork.com to get more information and subscribe now. David Adams has driven in the Yankees' only run with a double in the second inning, so he comes to bat for the second time. There's a strike. And Adams gets plunked by NYA.
Big helicopter curveball that slips out of NYA's hands, and if you're going to get hit, 76 miles an hour, right there is not a bad way to get it done.
Ichiro with a ground out to second in the second is 0 for his last 21. It's hard to believe with his speed and the way he puts the ball in play. His longest career hitless streak was 23 at-bats, and that was last year between June and July. Those are his longest hitless streaks.
And then he rattles off a 15 for 20.
Oliver Perez is warming.
Hector NYA was a replacement spot starter tonight, so he's probably on a pitch count. Adam Harang was scratched. Aaron Harang, rather.
That's laced into left center field, but Bay is there, and he'll put it away. Here comes Chris Stewart. He actually got a force on a throw from Overbay, and he kind of played the position like a first baseman. Here it is on Yes View. Nice stretch, backhanded catch.
Needed every bit of that 6'4" frame to make that play. Tall guy for a catcher, but moves well, very athletic.
He actually played first base last night when the Yankees had to bring in Alberto Gonzalez to get the last out. And Vernon Wells played second base. So Vernon Wells this year has played third and second for the first time. You wonder sometimes how managers come up with this stuff. You know, let's try Vernon at third. A lot of players, a lot of outfielders, even some pitchers during batting practice will just goof around in the infield. And Girardi was watching Vernon Wells take ground balls just as a goof and walked up to him and said, you know, if we ever need an emergency infielder, it's going to be you. No one ever wants to get the tap on the shoulder and say, if we ever need an emergency catcher, it's going to be you.
Yeah. The super utility player could play in any spot. I got a chance to play with Joe McEwing, and he literally was Super Joe. Played every position except pitcher.
There's a bunt. And Montero let it roll. Let's take a look at Andy throughout the night. And it looks like he's stretching at different times. He did have a back issue that he skipped a start at one point this year. This was the last pitch that he threw. So that's all we could come up with looking at past pitches. And you know, a lot of pitchers stretch, so we don't want to speculate. But a back has been an issue this year with him. And as soon as we find it out, we will Get it to you. 1-2. Base hit right field. Adams round second. He's going to third. And the Yankees have runners on the corners with one out.
Oh, nice at bat from Stewart after almost dropping down a perfect bunt. Kind of protecting. Just shoots it the other way.
Acting manager Robbie Thompson out to talk with Nuesi. Probably take him out. That ball was way outside, but it was up. And Stewart went with it and punched it to right field.
Nice piece of hit.
Almost Phil Rizzuto-like.
Not too bad. Neither was Nuesi. Emergency start. He did a good job as the Mariners go to the bullpen. Mariners a very, very good outing. Now the bullpen has to do its job. Let's check out the McDonald's upcoming schedule. Seattle leaves town after tonight's game. Then Toronto comes into town. My 9, 7:05 tomorrow night. Then 2 1:05 starts. Both of them on Saturday and Sunday. Yankees hit the road. They'll go to Baltimore. 3 7:05 games against the O's. Thursday's a day off, and then they travel down to St. Pete to meet the Rays. Well, the Mariners make the call to the bullpen, brought to you by AT&T. And it's Ali Perez who comes in. Yankees saw him yesterday. The numbers are very good. 20 strikeouts and 15 in the third. The only thing you don't like is the 8 walks. But a far cry from his ineffective days as a starter with the Mets. Not playing for the double play, not with Gardner at the plate, so they bring the infield in to try to cut off Adams at third. There's a strike.
Different look for Oliver Perez. New life up in Seattle, just attacking the hitters. No longer a starter, empty in the tank. Velocity this year has been upwards of 95 miles an hour.
It's a perfect spot for Don Zimmer's favorite play, the old safety squeeze. If Gardner can just get the ball down almost anywhere, but even on a safety squeeze, as opposed to a suicide squeeze, if Gardner can get it down the first base line a little bit, then Adams can follow and read as you go and probably walk home if it's a good bunt. Gardner could just take one with him. Lefty on lefty, tough matchup. Perfect time for it here, 2-1. Probably going to get a strike, although Oliver Perez is wild too, so you have to factor that in. What kind of pitch are you going to get to bunt? But obviously the suicide squeeze, the runner would be running right out of the hand of the pitcher. Safety squeeze, you wait and see where the bunt is and then run home.
Breaking ball strike. 2-2.
A little surprise for Brett Gardner. as attack mode as Oliver Perez has been, fastball count, as David just said, dropped a slider.
It's a tough matchup for a left-handed batter. Lefties are just hitting 083 off of Perez in that wheeling and dealing, slinging type delivery that he features.
And when he comes in with runners on base, he doesn't let them score. He's come in with 6 inherited base runners and has not allowed any to score.
Seattle's bullpen in general has excelled at that, has the best rate in the major leagues.
Seattle's holding on to a 2-1 lead. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Yankees have runners on the corners with 1 out. Brett Gardner at the plate, Perez on in relief of Noesi. Swing and a miss, got him. Gardner is 0 for 3, a big strikeout for Oli Perez.
Well, he's tough. I mean, high 3/4 after that slider, the ball's away, borderline, probably a ball, but Gardner protecting. One of those probably too close to take. Kind of waves at it, just trying to foul it off.
This is where you, as a pitcher, you get away with a little bit of that extra velocity. Gardner saw in that replay, just got by him just enough, and at the end he tried to foul it off.
Jason Nix takes outside, one of them. Two outs, the infield obviously backs up. Breaking ball clips the inside corner. 1-1.
Jason Nix has been swinging the bat well lately, and taking over the everyday shortstop job since Nunez was knocked out on the DL. And you see against left-handed pitchers what his numbers are, but finds himself in that ever-changing number 2 hole in Joe Girardi's lineup so far this year.
So Perez struck out Gardner. Now he's 1-2 on Nix, and strikeouts are his thing. The last 11 batters he's faced, 9 of them struck out. Big spot midway through this game. Rubber game of a 3-game set. Popped up. Second baseman Ackley is there, and Oliver Perez comes on and does the job. No run to hit and 2 men left on base. We're going to the 6th, 2-1 Seattle. Tomorrow's starting pitchers brought to you by Verizon Fios Quantum Internet. Technology that makes you feel superhuman. That's powerful. Mark Burley, 6.19 ERA. Hiroki Kuroda, another solid start for the Yankees, 5-2, 2.31. These are the starters for the series. Burley and Kuroda, Morrow and Phelps, and R.A. Dickey, coming off his Cy Young year, really struggling a bit against CC Sabathia. Tomorrow's BP show is on Yes at 6, pregame show at 6:30, and then game time at 7:07 will be on My 9. And a surprise guest in the booth, and we haven't called him a guest because he hardly does any games. Paul O'Neill will be calling the weekend. The 1-0 to Morse. There's a strike. Sean Kelly came on in relief of Andy Pettitte with 2 outs, nobody on in the 5th inning. Still awaiting word from the Yankees on why Pettitte left the game. Driven out to center field deep, going back Gardner, still back, looking up, see ya! Long home run for Michael Morse, and the Mariners lead 3-1.
Well, the reason why 31 home runs a couple years ago with the Nationals, this is fastball in. Looked like a pretty good pitch. He's off the plate, was able to pull his hands in enough. This is a line drive home run. Hits off the top of that little wall there behind the Yankee bullpen. 10th home run on the year. Tremendous strength and power Michael Morse has.
Raul Ibanez takes a strike.
That was a ridiculous display of power. Down and in, inside out. He didn't really even get it, and it was a line drive. And if you're in the Yankee bullpen, you better duck, because that thing came out there hot. Ricocheting. Caveman power. He didn't really even get this that good. He kind of inside out it and just muscled it. See him kind of fight that off a little bit. He didn't pull it.
And Ibanez down on strikes. So Raul is 0 for 3 tonight. 10th home run for Morse. He has 17 runs batted in.
Starting to get hot. Michael Morse, I mentioned a couple years ago, he had a little hand issue.
It's a strong man right there.
Montero takes a strike. And another strike, 0-2. Swing, miss. 2 outs, 3 strikeouts in an inning for Sean Kelly.
Yeah, that's Sean Kelly's pitch. A power slider. Just continued in that at bat. 3 in a row to Jesus Montero. Expanded. See him kicking himself on giving up that home run. Was slider on the plate and then just kept moving down and away. Eventually that pitch right there. Good pitch, good location.
Strike to Dustin Ackley. Sean Kelly has struck out 10 of the last 13 batters he's faced. Two and two. He's given the Mariners a 3-1 lead, Michael Morse. 93 miles an hour and a really darting slider. You see what Morse has done in the series. 7 for 11, a home run, 2 ribbies, and 4 runs scored. Three-two. Swung on and missed. So all 3 outs via the strikeout. He's got 4 strikeouts in an inning and a third. We go to the bottom of the 6th.
The home run we just saw, 1-1 fastball. Look at how he pulls his hands in, his back elbow, almost touching his right hip. That is good hitting. He was able to get to the barrel of the ball and drive it to the center of the field. That was a line drive home run. 10 home runs, up in the league leaders in the American League in home runs. Tremendous strength, Michael Morse.
So it's 3-1 Seattle. It'll be Cano, Wells, and Overbay. 2 lefties and a righty against the left-hander Oliver Perez. Now you watch Perez throw, and he's got nasty stuff. And you wonder, is it because he's working out of the bullpen? Or this was a guy who was not made for New York. He was a colossal disappointment for the Mets. He became really a hot-button issue for all their fans. They hated when he was on the mound. And the Mets finally had to get rid of him. I guess sometimes there are horses for courses, and New York was not his course.
That's part of the equation, but also his whole demeanor, his whole makeup, his mechanics are not well suited for the starting rotation. It takes a certain demeanor to be a starter and vice versa to be a reliever.
Jason Bay also might have fallen under the anti-New York spell, just couldn't do it with the Mets.
Well, also too, Michael, when you think about the, he was up and coming with the Pirates, actually with the Padres. He was traded over the Pirates. Didn't really have a good year until he won the 15 games for the Mets. So it was all on potential. And what you said, David, you look at his delivery. I mean, it's something out of, Louis Tiant / Juan Marichal, inconsistent release point. I mean, you fall in love with the fact as a younger man, and that's a few years ago. He's 32 years old now. If you can't have a consistent delivery with a consistent release point, you're going to have an inconsistent pitcher. And other than the one year where he won 15 games with a 3.56 for the Mets in 07, that was his only good year.
Swing and a miss.
I mentioned Louis Tiant. He pulled a little Louis Tiant right there. So, you know, what you just said about, you know, guys' mentality as starters and relievers. This guy has got the mentality of a reliever.
Wheeling and dealing, creating on the mound. That's a good slider, a good finish pitch on a lefty, and that's the kind of stuff you want from a left-hander coming out of the pen. Looking away from the hitter. Show him your back and fling that slider in there.
With the Mets, he was making $12 million a year. And this year with the Mariners, they're paying him $1.5. And a lefty arm out of the bullpen that pitches like that, that's a pretty good price for him.
Good, nice pickup. Jack Zarincic, the general manager, took a flyer. And, you know, where was the flyer really? After the Mets in 2010, he went to the Nationals, played in Double-A. Talk about the rock bottom aspect of a player. Gets let go, released from a Double-A club. And the Mariners saw him, like what they saw.
Now Vernon Wells swings over the top and strikes out. 4 outs, 3 strikeouts for Perez, and that's going to bring up Lyle Overbet. Now, every team that faces the Yankees knows if you can bring in a lefty out of the pen, you can get a lot of these guys in bad matchups because this is a lefty-laden lineup with not too many righty answers. Strike to Overbet. Yoervis Medina. One. A lot of Ks in this game. 16 combined strikeouts over 5+ innings.
Well, as a plan B, it has worked out perfectly for Seattle and manager Eric Wedge because Noesi forced into action, gave them just what they needed, got him into the 5th. Just 1 run, he struck out 4, and now you got, as Michael said, Oliver Perez here for this left-handed portion of the Yankee lineup. Not exactly how you drew it up, but pretty effective plan B.
Well, Aaron Harang, the scheduled starter, had a sore back. His ERA was also north of 7. Noese did an excellent job. Couldn't get through the 5 innings. He showed good stuff.
3-1. Swing and miss. 3-2. And the pitch. And Overbay works a walk. Perez really angry with himself. But he'll face another lefty, Curtis Granderson.
Oliver Perez, he had the knee issue with the Mets as well. That was the nagging. Ended up having DL time because of the patella tendonitis.
You know you've become an albatross on a team when you're owed a lot of money and they say, listen, go. They paid him $12 million for not pitching the last year. That's when he signed with Seattle. Kind of a weak wave there by Granderson, 0-2. We're in the bottom of the 6th. It's 3-1 Seattle.
Well, Seattle's a good spot. You know, it's a good baseball town. They're on the upswing again. Got tremendous fans out there. That refuse to lose campaign their fans had in 1995 was really remarkable. They really got behind their team. Some of the loudest fans I've ever been around, Al. Even when we Not only 1995 when the Yankees squared off with the Mariners and that great Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, and Alex Rodriguez was on that team, but then again in 2000, facing them in the playoffs once again. The fans out there in Seattle, tremendous, loud.
Ground ball, grabbed there by Ackley, and Granderson's going to beat it out. Perez looked like he's a little late covering, but he's worried if it goes through to have the backup third.
Yeah, but automatically, Michael, he busts semi. Then it becomes the foot race. Granderson against the pitcher. I'll take the runner any day. Does not get there. Nice play by Ackley to knock it down.
A lot of range from Ackley. Seeing eye ball, just perfectly placed. And Granderson's speed too much.
Well, that's going to do it for Oliver Perez. With David Adams, the righty, due up, they're going to go to a right-hander in the bullpen. (3-1) Seattle. Adams' first major league RBI with a double, driving in the Yankees' only run. Andy Pettitte left the game in the 5th inning. We're still waiting on word. And Michael Morse with a solo home run, his 10th homer of the year. That came in the 6th inning. Yoervis Medina will face Adams.
Saw him in game 1 of the series. Another outstanding arm in this deep Mariner bullpen. David Adams was interviewed after getting that first major league hit the other night, and they asked him what's his best position. I think it was Meredith Marakovitz that might have asked him this question. His answer, hitting.
Grounded to third. Seager goes to second, and that's going to do it. So Medina works out of trouble. No runs to hit, 2 men left. We're going to the 7th. official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. It's 3-1 Mariners as we go to the 7th on the Cadillac scoreboard. Mariners with 5 hits, Yankees 4. Sean Kelly on in relief of Andy Pettitte. You saw Boone Logan warming up to the Yanks. Ryan, Saunders, and Bay. 9-1-2 in Seattle's order. There's a strike.
This could be a one and done here. Boone Logan get ready for Michael Saunders, perhaps. Either Saunders or Kyle Seager.
94 miles an hour, 0-2.
Ball just jumps, David. There's Boone warming up. Sean Kelly. You got to look for that slider. He throws a lot of them, and it's a good one. 94s.
Fly ball right center. Long run for Gardner. He'll make the play.
Look, Joe's not coming out.
I think if Ryan had gotten on, then he probably would have made the move because there's another righty coming up
right
after Saunders.
Another conversation between Steve Donahue and Joe Girardi about an injured player.
Strike to Saunders. Saunders tonight is 0 for 3. A fly ball to left, a strikeout, and a ground ball too short. $18 strikes out of 24 pitches. You take that 3-1. Count 2-2.
The interesting part about Kelly, Al, to your point earlier, very simplified from the stretch. Basically a two-pitch pitcher. Fastball up to 94, in and out, pitch it to lanes, but that slider comes in on the same plane as that fastball. That's what makes it so effective. So you've got a 1-2 punch. You've got a fastball coming in with really nice velocity, and the slider that comes in on that same plane. So you got a split second to guess. Saunders sitting on slider, gets frozen. Even though he probably thinks that's low, Stewart did an excellent job framing that pitch.
Good flight, how it just stays true. There's not any sink to it. It's straight fastball.
Jason Bay takes high.
Sort of the different philosophy with a four-seam fastball guy. You almost pitch to lanes like a bowler. The inside corner and the outside corner.
There's a strike.
Good arm action. And you can see, look how Stewart catches that pitch. Framing ability of catchers, much more important nowadays.
Laced into right center field. Cutting it off is Gardner. Bay's going for 2. He'll make it. So that double by Bay is going to knock Kelly out of the game, as Girardi will make the signal for the left-hander Boone Logan. Trying to keep it right here at 3-1. We're in the top of the 7th. The runner on second, 2 outs. And it takes you right to Mariners and the Yankees. Game 3 of this 3-game set. Yankee Stadium, the venue on this Thursday evening. And Boone Logan comes on to face Kyle Seager. '15th game, 2-2, 2.61.
Good numbers for Boone Logan. 2 walks in that 10 and 3rd innings. He's done a nice job.
So Bays at second with 2 outs. This is the Yankees' 3rd pitcher. Andy Pettitte started. Left the game with 2 outs in the 5th inning with an injury. Not sure what it is yet. They haven't said. Sean Kelly came in, gave up a home run to Morse. Pitched well after that. And now the double by Jason Bay knocks him out of the game as Seager takes a strike. 7 of 12 runners stranded by Logan. Count 1-1.
Well, this is what Joe Girardi has to deal with, but when you only have one left-hander, you got to find your spots to get the key lefties out. Here it is in this game. Yankees down by 2. Seeing more and more clubs having multiple 2, 3 left-handers in the bullpen. A little more flexibility for a manager.
And I suspect at some point we're going to see Vidal Nuno back up here, because he looked so good, acquitted himself so well. He can start, he can relieve.
I know there are some right-handers that can get lefties out, but there's just the mental aspect of the lefty on lefty.
Popped up. Long run for Overbay, and Stewart makes the play. It was too long a run, and that will do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We played 6.5 at the stadium at Seattle 3 and New York 1. And as the Yankees head to the dugout, we will stay right where we are to honor America in the Bronx.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps. And please direct your attention to the area behind home plate. And welcome 2 honored guests of the New York Yankees. United States Army Sergeant Jonathan Warshaw, who served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And United States Army Captain Mark Moretti, who also served in Operation Iraqi Freedom and is a Purple Heart recipient. The Yankees say thank you for your sacrifice and service to our nation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to join in, sing along.
We'll be back with Meredith in the post-game show. Robert's too official, Alois. Cadillac scoreboard 3-1 Seattle.
Michael, David.
So we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and it'll be Ichiro, Stewart, and Gardner against Medina. If you believe in due, Ichiro's due. He's 0 for 22.
Well, you know, Michael, a big part of Ichiro's game throughout his career has always been the ability to get infield hits. Kind of slap the ball and run and beat it out. And that's kind of gone down the last few years for him.
That one is lined into center field, and the streak is over at 0 for 22.
And that one's got to feel good. But Ichiro always among the leaders in infield hits. He's got 463 infield hits in his career, and this is not an infield one. That's a line drive up the middle to break that 0 for streak, and always had such great bat control. But prides himself on putting the ball in play, so he really relies on infield hits because he's not going to walk a lot. He's not going to strike out a lot. But 463 infield hits in his career. That's almost 17.5% of all of Ichiro's hits were infield hits. This year, just 7. Down to about 10%.
What was his high?
He had 57 infield hits in 2004. He and Derek Jeter always were 1 and 2 over the last 10 years in infield singles. And for a guy who doesn't walk a lot, that's an important thing to have. That's something to bear watching. The last 3 years for Ichiro, just 36 infield hits, 29, and now 7. So it's been trending downward. His ability to slap the ball to the infield and beat it out. And that's a big part of his game, to get on base.
And it's weird, David, because when I was talking to scouts in spring training, and you see the player of the game, you could vote for the Chevy player of the game. Visit votechevy.com. Results will be revealed in the postgame show. And they said that he has not lost a step. So it's not as if, you know, he's a step slower and he's not beating out. Maybe he's just not hitting the ball the same way.
Well, he still runs well, but nobody runs as well as they did 10 years ago. So as far as losing a step, he's not as fast as he used to be. He still is in excellent shape, great athlete, still runs well, but not like he did in 2002.
Yeah, but I think you can extend that even to another level. Even though his speed is close to what it was, the bat speed. So as a hitter innately, you just think you have to cheat a little bit more. He's always had a lot of movement. That little slap to the 5-hole or 6-hole left side has done it so well. You know, when that bat slows down just a tick, you know, you start your swing a little sooner. Doesn't have the same. Don't have the same approach.
Well, it's just sort of, you know, in a day and age. Whoa, what a nice grab there in the stands. Heck of a play. He's loving it. Watch this dive.
Wow. Oh, and held on.
Looks like Derek Jeter in the playoffs a few years back. Come up bleeding.
He's wearing Mo's uniform. It's got it.
But it feels good.
Well, in this day and age of sabermetrics, on base percentage, you know, Ichiro always, that's how he padded his on base percentage, was those infield hits. The last 5 years, in 2009, his on base percentage 386, 359 in 2010, 310 in 11, 307, and now 281 this year so far.
Goes again on the pitch, and it's fouled away.
He's so valuable on the base pass. You need him on the base pass. And certainly, it's still a small sample size this year. We're just into May. We're kind of looking for Ichiro to get that big part of his game going, which is the slap and run, beating out infield throws. Because as I said, you know, he's very hard to strike out and kind of hard to walk too.
Goes. Pitch is low, and Stewart works a walk. First 2 runners on.
You got to believe Gardner's this is a punt opportunity. Lucas Litke and Carter Capps warming up for the Mariners. Carl Willis, the Seattle pitching coach, come out.
With the Knicks in the playoffs, it just feels right to say, here comes Willis.
What you talking about, Willis?
Dragging that back leg. Game 7.
Hitting his first 2 shots, then turning it over to Clyde.
Well, another opportunity for Gardner here is in this situation with his speed. You got to think bunt. You really do here. I mean, I'm not a big proponent of giving up outs, but this late in the game in this situation, he could put a lot of pressure on the defense with a really good bunt right here.
Not bunting. Yankees do well in close games this year. 16-5 in games decided by 2 runs or fewer. And that's tops and bigs.
You know, with Gardner, it doesn't have to be just a sacrifice. He's always bunting for a hit. And you look for opportunities. You know, I know there's a lot of different opinions out there, whether you're old school or new school, about giving up outs and bunts and the whole theory on bunting. But with a guy like Gardner, with his speed, it could be such a valuable tool for him. Wicked breaking ball there, too. Slider down and in. Gardner swung right over it. The Seattle bullpen, very impressive.
Well, Gardner with 2 very unproductive at-bats in big situations. First and third with 1 out in the 5th, he struck out. First and second, nobody out. Here in the 7th, then he strikes out.
Well, nice slider from Medina down in the zone. I guess you can go either way. Earlier in this series, there was a sacrifice situation that Joe Girardi elected not to do. Austin Romine was up. He was batting 9th in the first game of this series. And maybe just because of his speed, maybe Joe thinks it'll be hard to double up. So you have a chance to push it through the hole. If he's not doubled up, it's their first and third situation with 1 out. You sacrifice him over second, third, 1 out. Now you have Jason Nix. Nice player. It's not Robinson Cano. So the sacrifice fly situation for Nix and then 2 outs with Robin.
And in some ways, if you lead that far down the road, you don't want to leave first base open so they can walk Cano. You almost rather see Robbie hit first and second here than second and third with first base open.
Two and 1.
The killer in this situation, Michael, you talk about are strikeouts important, or that debate about strikeouts and all the worst play in the game is a double play right here. The most damaging offensive play in baseball is the ground ball double play. How many times have you been on the bench in a key situation with a big hitter and say, I'd rather see you strike out than hit a ground ball? The ground ball double plays the killer here. Nix in a good spot, 3-1.
Dribbled slowly to third. make the out at first. The runners move up, and that's just what David didn't want. We'll see if they pass Cano, but Vernon Wells is on deck. That's a nice play by Kyle Seager.
Really good infield defense in this Seattle team. Seager can play third. Ryan at short, widely considered the rangiest shortstop in the big leagues, and of course Ackley and his speed at second.
Now Robbie Thompson's going to go to the bullpen. Mixon and Matchin going to bring in a left-hander, so they will go right at Cano. Yankees trailing by 2. Lorenz has a complete recap of tonight's finale. Plus, Meredith Morakovitz gets the players' reaction from the clubhouse. And Joe Girardi's comments in the manager's report. It's the WB Mason postgame. It's only on Yes. All right, so Robinson Cano up in a real big spot. Second and third, 2 outs. Going to face a tough lefty, Lucas Litke. Cano 0 for 3 so far tonight. Those are Litke's numbers. Not good so far. Opponent's hitting .381 against him.
Well, this is interesting. The scenario that's playing out right now, Robbie Thompson making the calls for the Seattle Mariners, pitching to Robinson Cano here at Yankee Stadium, short porch and right, the lefty on lefty matchup. The other possible scenario, Medina walks Cano and you bring in Caps with the bases loaded to face Vernon Wells, who's been hot.
Well, you can keep Medina in to face Wells. He grounds the ball the other way. Ryan Field fires and it pulls Morales off the bag. Ichiro scores. Stewart moves to third. It's an infield single for Cano, and the Yankees now trail 3-2. And Robbie Thompson will now bring in the righty to face Vernon Wells. They have the shift on for Cano.
Making it that much farther to Brendan Ryan's right. He's got good range. He made that quick underhand throw. I don't think it was necessary. Robinson was getting down the line. Had he been able to get his feet underneath him, maybe it was a better throw.
All right, the Yankees with a chance to tie this game as the Mariners go to the bullpen again. Jordy ran out to check on Chris Stewart. Here's what happened as Stewart was running the bases. He's on second, ball's hit in the hole, and you can see trouble right away. He is in the game, he stayed in the game, but he's still stretching it out, but that's not a great sign.
Yeah, for a catcher as well. The tweak of the groin, it looks like.
The new pitcher is Carter Capps. And he will try to get Vernon Wells with runners on the corner with 2 outs. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up. Ackley is there and makes the play, and that will do it. But the Yankees creep closer. They score a run on the Cano infield single, and the Mariners lead the Yankees 3-2 as we head to the 8th. Chris Stewart had stayed in the game on the base paths, but he's not going to come out and catch. They decide to shut him down. And so we'll see Austin Romine behind the plate. And a season of injuries. Joe's hair was not that gray at the start of spring training. So you might wonder, well, what do the Yankees have next catching-wise? At Scranton Wilkes-Barre, they have a veteran. He's not on the 40-man roster. They'd have to make a maneuver if they call him up. Bobby Wilson, one of their young catchers they like a lot. J.R. Murphy is down at Trenton, also not on the 40-man roster. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but that didn't look like a good injury for a catcher.
Not for a catcher, no. And I guess the heralded prospect Gary Sanchez
is under J.R. Murphy, yeah. Hyundai scoreboard 3-2 Seattle. Bobby Wilson at AAA is hitting 174 in 22 games. J.R. Murphy at AA Trenton, 29 games, hitting 294 with 4 home runs and 19 ribbies. Now this puts a lot of pressure if Chris does go on the DL, and you cross your fingers that he won't, on the youngster Austin Romine.
Well, even if it's not DLable,
he's gonna sit out some games.
Yeah, then who's your backup catcher?
We're still awaiting word on what the story is with Andy Pettitte. Haven't heard anything, so make sure to stick around for the post-game show. Meredith will give you any information that she gets while she's in the clubhouse. Count 2-1. Now, the player that you asked about, Gary Sanchez, is really a highly regarded catcher as a Tampa A ball. 36 games, 7 home runs, and 31 ribbies.
Both top prospects. You know, it's one of the strengths of the Yankee farm system, but neither one of those guys probably ready for a call as of yet.
There's 2 pretty good catchers right there on the left of your screen. Now for this game, you got to ask emergency. And I guess the guy that I'm thinking is Jason Nix.
Absolutely. Jason Nix is the guy you would turn to, although he's so valuable now. He's your everyday shortstop. You might have to turn to Gonzalez, who pitched last night.
Shattered bat, ground ball to Adams. And Morales is out on the 5-3. We gave you the body count on injuries on the DL for the Yankees, and when you consider the New York Times had a story then, and it was really well done on their website. It was a continuing clock of how much money was on the DL, and the Yankees have about $100 million in salary on their DL, and that man has been kept very, very busy. Stevie Donahue. Pitch to Morse. His home run's the difference in the game right now.
We talked about sort of his unusual batting stance, at least from the start. He's down below the knob with his bottom hand.
Kind of interlocks the fingers too, almost like a golf grip.
Little quirky routine there with his leg and his hands. Soft grip on his top hand.
Overlap. That's the overlap as opposed to the interlocking.
There's a strike from Logan.
It most definitely is a golf grip, Michael. You are right. Probably trying to just get his hands to work together as one. Get the bat in his fingertips a little more so he can whip it through the zone, and he's a strong man.
Another shattered bat, backhanded by Nix. 2 outs. All right, we get word on Pettitte, a tight left trapezius muscle. That's kind of an upper back, shoulder blades.
You trapped. Yeah.
Yes, it's you know, it's trapeze, you know, it could go either way, around to the shoulder blade muscles leading down to a problem there, or into the neck, stiff neck. You know, it's only Andy can tell. It's not your average pitching injury. It's usually when you sleep wrong. You know, you get pain. You get a pain in your trapeze muscle.
It's kind of the back of the neck going toward the shoulder, but it's more neck. And when he had the back issue that had him skip the start, that was lower back. So there's no connection, I would think, to this. .1-0 on Raul Ibanez, 0 for 3 tonight.
Well, the good news on that with Andy Pettitte, that's not a traditional pitching injury. It's not like, oh, my elbow, or, you know, it's even lower back or a slip disc type situation. You know, that's a manageable injury.
It's an achy a discomfort, right? It's not in the shoulder and elbow, as you said.
1-2. Swing and a miss. Great night last night for Ibanez. Tough one tonight. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and a pop-up to the pitcher. We go to the bottom of the 8th. after 2 outs in the 5th. You could see he's stretching, not real comfortable, trying to get loose. He was effective. Gave up 2 runs. Final 2 batters that he faced, he struck out. And we want to tell you what the trapezius is. It's the upper left.
Sore neck?
I guess so.
That's the injury that left-handed batters used to come up with when they didn't want to face Al Leiter. Oh, I slept on my neck wrong. You know, Al Leiter's pitching today.
Hyundai scoreboard 3-2 Seattle. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Overbay, Granderson, and Adams against Caps. One and one. So Pettitte leaves the game with an injury. Chris Stewart leaves the game with an injury. Yankees have used 35 players so far this year. If you want to compare, they used 45 all of last year. All of last year. That includes call-ups in September. Adam Warren getting ready. Five players this year have made their major league debut. So the Yankee farm system being tested. And so far they've answered the call.
We've gotten certainly more of an education in the roster rules and maneuvering this year than I could ever remember. You know, I mean, certainly in the Yankee universe since I've been around, I've never seen so many conflicts on the roster because of so many injuries. Getting guys on the roster, getting them off, 60-day DL.
Well, that's the protection right there. If you can project who would actually be able to benefit putting somebody on the 60-man, especially if you've got to find the roster spot.
And what Al means by that, if you're up against 40 and you have 40 and you don't want to lose somebody, you can create a roster spot by putting one of the guys on the 40 on the 60-day DL. That frees up a spot, and the Yankees have been doing that. So far this year, Derek's been put on the 60-day DL. Alex Rodriguez on the 60-day DL. Cesar Cabral, 60-day DL. Pineda is on the 60-day DL. Teixeira as well. Cervelli. So right there, that created 6 roster spots on the 40-man. And that kind of maneuvering allows you to keep, in essence, 46 players protected. But at some point when they come up the DL, somebody you're going to lose.
Yep.
It's a temporary fix.
Yep.
And as we found out with David Adams, it's not as easy to reach down the minor leagues and just call up any minor leaguer you want. You have to clear a roster spot. And in David Adams' case, he had to wait till May 15th because he was taken off the roster in spring training and then re-signed by the Yankees after that clearing of waivers.
And that's the key. If you take somebody off the 40, then they go through waivers. You can re-sign them if they go through waivers, but if somebody says, I want them, you've lost them. The 2-2. This one's coming right in your living room. Protect the China.
It's been a good at bat. Lyle Overbay fighting off some tough pitches from a good pitcher in Carter Capps. A lot of movement.
.87 miles an hour fouled back.
There's power arm after power arm in this Mariner bullpen. And one of their better arms, Stephen Pryor's on the DL right now.
Well, that's what makes Capps so interesting. His particular style of delivery is more like a sinker finesse guy. But he kind of drops down, throws across his body, and has massive velocity to go with it, up to 98.
High fly ball, left side, long run for Bay. And he gets there to make the play in foul territory for the first out. Looked like a fan grabbed the glove of Bay and he pulled it back aggressively.
That's it. Like you're on the subway, you got a purse snatcher. Get off me.
Really? I think he wanted the ball, right? Maybe not.
All right, that was a little dramatic, but you know.
Blew a fastball right by Granderson. Curtis 2 for 3. Third start ever as the DH. One and one. And he throws that breaking ball. That's tough. That's a tough combo.
I mean, David, you said it. A guy kind of down low three-quarter across his body. 97, 98, and their little backdoor slider.
Very unique style.
And the style comes from, here's a guy that went to a small school in North Carolina, Mount Olive College. He was a catcher. And they said, why don't you try pitching? Got on the mound, and everybody looked and said, wow, you're a pitcher. Totally went under the radar and ended up being a third-round draft pick. 2011, here he is 2 years later in the big leagues. So you never know. Division II National Pitcher of the Year, 2011.
The thing that really makes him so effective, especially against righties, see, he's pitching almost on the right side of the rubber and stepping across his body. So that creates an angle of attack.
3 hits for Curtis Granderson. Good sign for the Yankees.
So you would think, Al, that left-handed batters would get a little better look because he's all the way over on that side of the rubber and throwing across his body. As tough as that is on the righties, you see Granderson gets a real good look at this one.
It's a good at bat. Good night for Curtis.
Hey, guys, you're both aware of this. I wonder, you're talking about being on the right side of the rubber, stepping across, throwing across the body. Isn't that a recipe for an injury at some point? Don't they try to stop pitchers from doing that?
Throwing across your body, yes, because the strain of throwing across a forced front side. But, you know, there's guys that have done that. I mean, Jared Weaver comes to mind right now, a guy who throws way across his body.
Caps to David Adams. Way outside.
But as we've been talking tonight about, you know, pitching is just not a normal motion. I mean, there are scouting directors or general managers that will decide on a guy to draft and they project. Now, obviously, it's not absolute. You know, we'll get 6 years out of him. We'll get 3 years out of him. Knowing that the longevity aspect of most pitchers is fragile, especially guys that don't have good deliveries.
Runner goes, and that one gets past Montero, and Granderson with a stolen base.
The Caps has got the big leg kick. Granderson absolutely saw it. Good play, good move. Get a little help from Mick Kelleher, the first base coach. You get a right-handed pitcher with a time of 1.4, 1.5, throws across his body. Good pitch to throw on, run on. Montero didn't catch it.
So Adams now has a chance to tie the game, maybe with a single. Time runs at second, bottom of the 8th inning, 3-2 Seattle. There's that inside move.
Well, a couple things it does. It keeps, obviously, Curtis Granderson from running at will, 2-0 count. But also the secondary lead. If it's not a big secondary lead, hard ground ball to the outfielder may not be able to score.
You know, I don't know if you guys feel this way. You look at David Adams, and usually kids come up and they just don't look as if he's aggressive. He's like flinging his bat through the strike zone. He runs the bases like he's been here forever.
That was a really nice 2-0 swing and a fastball right there. That's what you like to see. You're getting a fastball count, young hitter. You got an RBI out there. Very aggressive.
Well, he is really hacking 98 miles an hour right by him. I don't think many in AAA are throwing 98.
You're not seeing this too often, and not only 98, in a perfect spot. Down and away at the knees on the black.
And the pitch. Fouled away.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Michael. He's got the look. And, you know, when you have a guy coming out of a big-time program, and I'll say University of Virginia, certainly the last few years, been the College World Series, a number 3 draft pick. He's been in the minor leagues for a few years now. 2008, he was drafted, signed.
What was the Don Zimmer phrase? He looks hitterish. Old school.
And he was thought highly enough to be included in the trade for Cliff Lee, except that his ankle was bad and Seattle called off the deal. And he's not a kid, he's 26, so he's been around, but he's getting his first taste of big league life. He wants to make the most of it. He wants to stay. 2-2. That one is looped into left field. Backing up is Ryan. He makes the play for the second out. Now Caps will face Ichiro Suzuki. Last time up, Ichiro singled to center field, and that broke it 0 for 22 slide. And Carl Willis going to talk things over with Caps because they can be very careful with Ichiro here. Ichiro is going to have 3,000 hits. He's going to the Hall of Fame. The guy on deck is Austin Romine, who has 1 hit this year. Thought more of as a defensive catcher than an offensive threat. I'm not sure you put the go-ahead run at first base, but you probably tell him don't give him anything to hit. But is that wise to do with a guy like Ichiro? Because what is something that he can't hit?
Well, we talked about it earlier in the game. Ichiro just such great bat control. He puts everything in play.
And because Stewart is out of the game, there is no answer for Romine. You've got to send Romine up to hit.
Well, the numbers against and just the sheer delivery of Caps, he's much tougher on right-handers. 241 coming into today. I'm surprised at 391 left-handed batters, not the 241 even a bit high, just as nasty as he's looked this evening.
Yeah, you can tell that lefties, as Granderson did, get a little better look from a guy all the way over on that side of the rubber, throwing across his body. Gives you more time to see the pitch coming in. Plus, there's no give. The whole purpose of the angles is for a right-hander to get on that side of the rubber is to create that angle on a right-handed batter. So it almost looks like the pitch is coming from behind him and breaking over the plate. Lefties, that's nullified. Still got to contend with 98 miles an hour and movement, but you definitely get a better look off of Caps' style batting left-handed.
So I think the be smart here is, and I hear what you're saying, Michael. I don't know how pitching coaches handled you, David. Is that, you know, it's a lot of times it's the kiss of death. Be careful. You know, what do you want me to do? You want me to throw 4 balls off the plate, down, up, neck high? The area in which that I think what I would do, Ichiro, especially at 98, I would elevate somewhere, letter, neck high, stay upstairs, and balls right down the middle. You know, that little low pitch that you see so often, Ichiro able to flare something somewhere in the outfield. It's tough to get on top of, especially 98 miles an hour, neck high. If they're actually trying to pitch around him, which from the looks of that last pitch, there was nothing pitching around there. That was right down the middle.
I mean, this could work out for them, but it doesn't make sense to me.
With Romine on deck.
Romine on deck. I'm sorry, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, the right, since especially, look, it's 391 with 3 home runs, left-handed batters off the Caps in a, minimal amount of innings. Right-handed batters, 241 batting average.
You could see Carl Willis, the pitching coach, looking at him, and Montero imploring him to expand, meaning see if you can get him to chase.
What did he do that 4 times already?
I think that's the 3rd or 4th time.
With 2 outs, and Granderson on second, a little surprised that Ryan is holding him close to shortstop.
Struck him out. So they went right after Ichiro. Fastballs and then a breaking ball, and Ichiro down on strikes. Yankees strand 1. We're going to the 9th inning in a 1-run game. On deck. This season, there's more fun and games, baseball training tips, and surprises from your favorite Bronx Bombers. A new season, a new look of Yankees on Deck. It's back Sunday at noon and again at 5:30 only on Yes. Adam Warren, Yankees' 4th pitcher. He's done a nice job in 7 games, 14 hits in 18 2/3 innings. He struck out 15, good ERA. And the Yankees want him to hold it right here at 3-2, and they'll take their chances in the bottom of the 9th. A little stunning that they went right after Ichiro, and it kind of reeks of they didn't really respect him that much. Otherwise, you'd go against the inexperienced Romine, who's had trouble offensively as Montero lines it right to Overbay. And they didn't make him chase, and Al talked about expanding and stuff like that. And they went right at him.
Right down the middle.
Got a lot of confidence in Caps and his stuff and his ability to miss bats. And
see Wilhelmsen, their closer, getting ready.
It's also the old school theory, Michael, of don't walk the winning run.
Right.
The go-ahead run on base. So.
And he was throwing 97, 98.
If you look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, Romine's now going to lead off. Gardner and Nix. Ackley lines one to center. Right there is Gardner for the 2nd out.
talked about Phil Hughes last night, you know, and his knockout punch. Said it could happen to anybody, any starter. Happened to Verlander tonight. 8 earned runs in the second inning. Down in Texas with a matchup of Darvish. Looked like a really good pitcher's matchup, right?
As advertised, no. Knockout.
You Darvish, Justin Verlander. Well, you pay to watch that one, right?
Bottom of the 5th, it's 9-4 now. Tampa Bay holding on against Boston 3-1.
Verlander knocked out in the 3rd inning. You Darvish in there, but he's given up 4 earned runs too. A little touched up a bit, but got the lead.
1-1 pitch. Breaking ball clips the outside corner, 1-2.
Nice pitch. I like what the Yankees have done with Adam Warren. Al, you see this nice tight little slider, perfectly located. It's kind of old school, you know. You let him groom him in the big leagues. Let him be in the bullpen for a while. Obviously, he was a starter in the minor leagues and competed for a spot in the rotation, and still may be a future starter. That's how I learned. It's how you learned.
In the bullpen.
In the bullpen, in the big leagues. And David Phelps last year, that was a formula that worked. And sometimes that's better than another year in AAA just to keep starting. Go ahead and get up here and see what if you can help this team now.
Nice play by David Adams. Fires to first, but it pulls Overbay off the bag as Ryan gets a single. Not much has gotten by David Adams in the 2 starts at third base, but he couldn't complete this play.
Played third base at UVA. Yankees had him in the minor leagues as a second baseman. Getting that ball, gets his feet underneath and gets on top of it. Just pulls Overbay off the bag.
Good throw would have had him too. Rangy, covered the ground, got there, set and throw. On target, would have been out.
Mentioned about old school. David Wells, when he got called up with the Blue Jays, was in the bullpen. Todd Stottlemyre. Pat Hankton, eventual Cy Young award.
0-2.
It's tough for general managers, organizations around trying to make decisions. Do I keep him ready to start in case we need him in AAA, or do I go ahead and work him into middle relief here? And as it's turned out, they've needed him, and he's done well. Came in, he's got a 1.40 ERA. Great job in Cleveland with Vidal Nuno. Kind of tag teamed a start there. 5 innings and 4 innings.
Ground ball to Nix. Nice scoop there by Overbay, and that will do it here in the 9th. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 man left. Can the Yankees rally against Wilhelmsen? dealers, visit VWDealer.com. By TJ Maxx and Marshalls, 2 stores, 2 awesome ways to score. And by your Tri-Honda dealers, heard of your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2013 Accord. So it comes down to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Yankees will have to come back against a very good closer in Tom Wilhelmsen. 3-7-1 for Seattle, 2-7-0 for the Yanks. Wilhelmsen is the 6th pitcher used by the Mariners.
Yeah, this guy's very good. 17 innings, only 5 hits. ERA of .53, 10 saves. Emerging as a dominant closer in baseball. Upper 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
So here is Austin Romine. He entered in the 8th inning for Chris Stewart, who left with what looked like a groin pull. Two and 0. Romine just wants to get on. Then the Yankees could maybe have Gardner bunt the 2-0. 3-0 to Romine. Pretty good bet he's taking.
100%.
Ooh. Got a friendly call.
Sometimes you get that automatic 3-0 call from an umpire. Borderline.
Hit sharply right to the second baseman. Ackley will get Romine for the first out.
One pitch. You know, often you hear, if I could only get that one pitch back. We've seen Greg Gibson call that a ball the previous pitch.
Borderline low as well right there on the 3-1 fastball. Right-handed batters 0 for 28 off of Wilhelmsen so far this year. 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. Now 0 for 29.
Here's Gardner. 2 big strikeouts last 2 times up. In the 5th inning, 1st and 3rd, 1 man out, he struck out. In the 7th inning, 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Might have been a good spot for a bunt. They decide to let him hit away, and he strikes out looking. One and one.
See why Wilhelmsen is difficult to hit. It's a cut fastball. Late movement and very late at 97 miles an hour. Hard to square up.
Two and one. Now 3 and 1. He was 3-1 on Romine. He was 3-0 on Romine. Well, that shows a guy who's really not very confident at the plate right now. Tries to bunt that and fouls it off.
Well, the previous pitches, Kyle Seager, the third baseman, was up. He moved back slightly. Yes,
Gardner thought he had a shot pushing down the third base line.
And a base hit for Gardner.
Well, another thing the threat of a bunt does is move the infield defense around. The Sager had to come in and protect. Kind of open up that hole just a little bit more, although that's clean. Right between short and third.
Big right-hander, a lot of arms and legs. Young catcher doesn't throw people out. Let's see if Gardner goes right away. He's 7 out of 10. And Montero has thrown out only 1 of 18 attempted base stealers. And Jason Nix takes low.
Well, Wilhelmsen is last night lights out, 3 up, 3 down. Close out last night's game. A little different story with a big lead. Wasn't a safe situation.
Runner goes. Throw to second. Awful throw. Great backup by Ryan. Otherwise, Gardner would have been at third.
Well, some of it is off the pitcher, but that throw, we've seen a couple. Montero has just not been on the mark. 18 out of 19, 19 out of 20 now off his knees trying to pull a Tony Pena. Way left of the base.
Now Montero's really got no chance with the jump that Gardner had. He does try to just almost Benito Santiago style.
That's it, Benito.
It was one of the first ones that I saw do it.
Tony Pena used to do it.
Tony Pena as well, yes. I think Benito was one of the best. He could throw it on the money with tremendous arm strength from his knees.
All right, so the tying runs at second base for the Yankees. 1 man out, Jason Nix at the plate, Robinson Cano on deck. .97 miles an hour, blew it by him, 2-1. Yankees trying to get their first win of the year when trailing after 8 innings. They're 0-15, but they are 8-2 in 1-run games. Cano is on deck. Vernon Wells after him. Runner goes. Stolen base. That changes things. Seattle has to bring the infield in. Game could be tied on a fly ball. Ball gets by Montero. That's a big stolen base.
Yeah, that right away, Gardner at second base had the look of trying to get as far as he could. Brennan Ryan was close, but you have a closer. Most closers do not compensate their delivery, meaning their leg kick is the same. They're going to say, hey, I'm going to get the hitter out. I don't care what the runner's doing. Very few closers will shorten their stride or give what's called a slide step.
Just don't get a lot of practice at holding on runners. They're not good at it, generally speaking.
3-1. That probably ball 4. He chases, and the count now full at 3-2.
Yeah, even though it was a ball and at the velocity, it's just getting up on Jason Nix. High fastball, good pitch to drive to the outfield, sacrifice fly. Be a tied ball game.
He struck him out. 2 away, and that leaves it up to Cano. Just overpowered Jason Nix.
This is what you call driving a four-seamer downhill. 96 miles an hour. Just below the knees.
What were the numbers you given? The righties haven't
Now they're 0 for 30.
0 for 30. I'm not saying it's the just be careful, but with Robinson, Cano, and Vernon Wells, this hole at bat, let's see where Will Helmson goes after Robinson, Cano.
Top flight closer, one of the best hitters in baseball. Game on the line, bottom of the ninth. Pitch high. People running down the runway. You wonder if they're going to talk to Eric Wedge to get some instructions from the manager that was thrown out early. Go 1-0. 1-1.
Sort of the same question as before. You know, it's Cano's the best player. You don't want to let him beat you, but are you willing to put the winning run on base?
Those are the numbers for Cano with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Runner at third is a tying run. Vernon Wells is on deck. Yankees have out-hit the Mariners, but the Mariners have outscored the Yankees 3-2. Yankees have had their chances. They have not cashed in. Moments ago, they run down the tunnel. They probably get a whistle from Eric Wedge. And then the information passed on to Robbie Thompson. Hammered down the right field line, but foul into the second deck.
Certainly you would assume at this point that if Travis Hafner was available at all, he would have pitched hit for Nix, or somehow you'd see a bat in his hands. That's not the case, obviously.
The 1-2. Still 1-2. Fouled off 98.
Tough pitch to spoil after a big slow curveball. Cano way out in front. 97, 98 mile-an-hour fastball, and down and away located fastball. Probably a ball.
Good job by Cano just to fight that off. Stay alive.
The rubber game of the series comes down to the bottom of the ninth inning. Tying run is 90 feet away. Robinson, Cano at the plate. Will Helmson on the mound. The pitch. Just got a piece.
I mean, we're watching this play out. The importance of having a runner 90 feet away. You know, if you're set up, Will Helmson, he's got a big curveball. He hung it 2 pitches ago. He wants to where the babe hits it right field. You know, the danger of a good secondary pitch down in the dirt. Could be a pass ball, wild pitch. You almost eliminate that pitch in many instances with the runner at third base. Or at least trying to put it away.
One-two. Grounded softly to short. Ryan Fields. Ball game over, and the Yankees lose this one 3-2. So Will Helmson with the tying run at third gets Jason Nix to strike out and gets Robinson Cano to ground softly to short. So the Mariners win the series, and they win the game 3-2. Stick around for the postgame show to find out who's tonight's Chevy player of the game. Here's how it ended. A battle between the closer and the Yankees' #3 hitter, and Cano could not get it done. We'll give an award out and get you to the postgame show. Stick around.